Hello everyone, welcome back to the Football Amateur Show. I am your host, Alfonso Castaneda. I have my co-host here, Tristen Mancilla. And
Hey.
I got a special friend of mine that I met over here at Cal State Lambro. I got my friend Dylan Lambro. He is a European fan from Wales and an aspiring professional coach. Let's give it up for... Yes. Yes. Right here. We got it. We flew him out. We flew him out all the way from Wales, guys. Just so they know, what part of Wales?
I am from Swansea.
Right on, Swans. Well, I really wanted to have you on the show just so that you could, show your perspective, what you think of the U.S. right now, how it compares with your country. I think it's super interesting just to talk about these things.
Yeah.
But before that, I do want to talk about how did you get here, actually?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been a big dream of mine to come out to California in particular, the culture, the lifestyle, the representation of California in general globally is remarkable, really.
Really?
Yeah. It's meant to be like the home of like opportunity and like the hub of like this vibrant, diverse community, and it provides like a lot of opportunities which maybe you guys aren't aware of.
Yeah.
Because you probably take it for granted because you're local, but like a lot of people like myself dream to come out here. So I worked several years to come out here, and I wanted it to use the experience to grow as a person and also as a professional, because I see football over here as a great opportunity and is growing at a great pace, actually.
Yeah.
I would argue it's going to break in the top 4 for sports over here soon. So you better watch out hockey.
Watch out. Watch out hockey, golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. So you were studying at a university in Wales, right?
Yeah, Cardiff Metropolitan is
Right on.
my university, so it's the National School of Sport.
Okay.
And I'm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's dedicated just to sport.
Yeah.
My particular
Wow.
campus is, and I'm doing a program called sports coaching because I'm an aspiring professional football coach.
Yeah.
So I learn about, there's so much more to coaching than people think. They think it's just as simple as you turn up, you tell people what to do, you wear a whistle around your neck, and you bark orders on the touchline.
Yeah.
And there's so much more to that. There's building rapport with your athletes. There's understanding, cultural dimensions. There's there's not just strategies. Sometimes as a fan, it's easy to say, oh, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Well, there's so many factors behind it. Yeah. And so I'm learning to build myself as a people person.
Yeah.
And I'm also learning the psychology aspects behind it. I'm just trying to grow as somebody that can help these people on and off the field. So that's why I'm doing my degree.
All right.
Wow.
So it's interesting. What is the pathway for coaches? You get your degree. Where does this sort of go from there? Do you end up in some sort of like group, some networking opportunity?
Okay, so I'm actually going an untraditional route.
Okay.
Most coaches, there's in my country, it's called the FAW, and that's where you can get your certificates, your badges.
Okay.
So you have the foundation, which is most people could do. It's like really, really grassroots. Most like Sunday league coaches will actually do this at some point.
And it's like a license? Like a sort of?
So it's like a one-day course. It talks about mostly the safety. It teaches respecting the officials, and it also safeguarding the children, asking how to deal with difficult parents, perhaps.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of emphasis on just enjoyment, because the sort of people that start off in the foundations generally coach grassroots individuals. And then you have my current qualification, which is a C. So it's a bit more technically based. You're starting to talk about strategies. You start to talk with them more than just drills. You're talking about how you can build connections and whatnot.
It's the OFAC, or is it?
It's I think it's on par. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's fairly simple. It takes some voluntary hours, and several days of being taught by a tutor and whatnot. Then you have your UEFA or your B license, which you can coach professionally, like competently at a decent level with that qualification. That takes, if I'm not mistaken, several years potentially.
Really?
Yeah, and then if you want to go for an A license, which is what top draw managers generally have.
Yeah.
That's several years of experience too. Now, there's obviously
Wow.
exceptions with ex-professionals and whatnot getting sped up through that process.
It's true.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
That's what you can usually do.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And my pathway, because I'm dedicated, as I said, to standing out. So I'm doing my degree as well as these badges on the side. And I've taken it upon myself to coach several different sports. So I don't just try to develop in football.
Yeah.
I'm doing swimming, I'm doing track and field.
That's interesting.
I'm doing stuff like that so I can grow, so I can transfer all these different skills, all these different experiences. And then when the opportunity arises, so hopefully one day when I do become a professional, or if I can, I put myself in the best opportunity possible to help my players develop as people as well as their performances.
Okay.
What skills do you think kind of transfer over that you find between all those sports that you coach?
Communication is quite simple.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays we become more aware as a society that people learn in different ways.
Yeah.
People think that it's the traditional, kinesthetic, visual, or an audio learner, and people think, you're just one of those three. And that theory has been proven by multiple studies that it's complete nonsense.
Bollocks.
It is bollocks. one might say.
One might say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomfoolery. No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I've worked with a lot of disabled athletes.
Okay.
I've worked and talk not just like physically impaired, but mentally impaired as well. So I've been exposed to unorthodox approaches and diverse ways of dealing with certain athletes. Only recently has a society really accepted, difficult topics such as mental health being discussed.
Yeah.
And only recently as football, taking a stand to fight stigma and stuff like that. So, learning how to work with people and understanding their cultural backgrounds, understanding just in general their life background, how they think, how they operate. I think for me that's of utmost importance before you even talk about strategies and your nutritions and stuff like that, because for me it's kind of null and void if you don't get the mental aspect of your game.
We've talked to some players before that have a lot of injuries, and that really impacts them mentally. So what would you say as a coach is probably most important to bring them back to speed?
I think probably implementing practices such as meditation. It's extremely underrated. And
They don't talk about that a lot. It's the mental aspect of everything, and
they don't.
And as a fan, you talk about the trainings, you talk about the physical therapy, but you never talk about, a lot of teams have therapists and psychiatrists in their teams, and so what were you gonna say about the meditation thing? Yeah,
you see a lot of people they talk about players that's not the same player when they came back from injury,
right?
But if they're running the same speeds as before, and if they're putting the same intensity as tackles as before, there's only a certain amount of time where you can say that they need time to get match fit and whatnot. If you look at some players right now, so you look at let's just say Umtiti at Barcelona right now, so he's taken several injuries right now, and he's been linked to clubs a lot lower down than Barcelona, your likes of your Arsenals and your Manchester United, which right now are in transition phases.
Yeah,
a lot of people, including himself, probably starting to doubt their own ability, starting to doubt, can I do this much more? Can my body deal with this?
Yeah,
and it's I believe most injuries, the aftermath, is mental rather than physical for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of players also rush back from injuries far too quickly, so they'll take your injections, they'll rush surgeries, and it's not a natural thing to do, and so the longevity of players' careers, I think you'll see soon that a lot of players' career injuries, even with the updated technology and whatnot, are going to get a lot shorter because of the pressure of your sponsorships, of your fans, of your your short career.
They need you back on the field. To get
especially for the big players. They have the added pressure, and that's a big mental aspect. Yeah, I guess in a way, if I'm gonna bring something into this, it's just you gotta think what's best for you, and not what the fans want. Sometimes I guess if you're thinking about the bigger picture, you know what I'm saying. It's prioritize yourself, whatever works best for you, and that's always gonna be better for you mentally, I think.
Yeah.
But as a professional coach, I guess what level would you say is the dream level?
I mean,
top level. I imagine.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people can dream. I think.
No, I mean,
I
like-
think it's important to dream.
Of course. Yeah. Aim high.
I really do. Honestly, like for me,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to coach out here.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
I
right on.
really would. I really, really would.
Cool.
I feel MLS used to be viewed as the retirement league,
Right.
and used to just bring in, commercial stars to boost in revenue. I'm talking about, your Lampards, your Beckhams,
Yeah.
your Gerrards, which, as I think we can all agree,
Yeah.
that were well past their prime.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nowadays, you're starting to see a lot of investment in the youth. I'm looking at teams like Atlanta right now.
Atlanta, agree. Yeah.
I'm looking at LAFC right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm looking at LA Galaxy's new signings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Antuna.
Oh yeah, he's
I
on.
He's just signed and a hat trick for Mexico against Cuba
yeah,
the other
yeah.
day.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of upcoming talents.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you're starting to see the transition, and even with the pressure of the wage, your wage structure.
Mm-hmm.
I think the potential is clear. I mean, you're looking at new clubs being added to the league. You're looking at the passion of Cincinnati.
Yep.
You're looking at the passion of Orlando FC.
Right.
I mean, you've seen all these new teams joining, and you see the NASL that's growing rapidly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing, I mean, even local teams like Orange County over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great team. The Orange County
Yeah,
FC is
yeah,
great, dude. I love it. Yeah.
and the following
Check 'em out.
is growing. I feel like there's a direct correlation between the interest from fans and the quality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're directly linked, and I think like the involvement with the Hispanic community over here
Mm-hmm.
is starting to get a bit more invested, which is great because it's encouraging the standards to improve dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to be a fan in the United States right now is extremely exciting.
Yeah.
Of course, there's potentially a ceiling, dependent on the.
Well, I hope not. I hope that
Of course.
there's of course other sports. We got basketball, we got football.
Yep.
I was about to say, I forgot.
You forgot
I
baseball.
forgot about
Those
baseball.
are the three main in America.
Main ones, yeah, for sure. I guess, it shouldn't be like we should surpass them, but we should be at that same tier. I
Yeah.
think should be the goal.
You should be in the same discussion.
The same discussion at least. That's my dream.
Well,
I guess to be in that discussion.
I could see how like America is kind of like prime ground for at least aspiring coaches because we're like the only country that really refuses to like accept soccer.
It's developing. So if they can get people, like yourself, like you already have your experience here in Europe, people with experience from Europe, which is already established, I think you would have a good chance. I think actually.
I think it's great. I mean, you can.
Mhm.
I've watched a lot of documentaries, even like lower quality teams in the US,
Yeah.
like like last opportunity teams, for example.
Yep.
And they'll have like Scandinavian coaches and whatnot.
Yeah.
They will. So I think personally, like for a coach, it's an exciting time to get your qualifications if you're American.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But also if you're European, I think it's an exciting time to come out here and be part of the scene that's growing dramatically,
Right.
and the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
I guess I do want to talk about the comparison between European soccer and here.
Yeah.
But before we do that, actually, can you talk about the license? Is there a price, and how expensive are the licenses over here? Because over here, you'd be surprised. It gets pretty high.
okay, so
Yeah.
foundation level is
Yeah.
extremely inexpensive, and
Uh-huh.
actually a lot of the time, coaches will have that subsidized by the teams that they're working for.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
for example, if they got a Sunday league team, I mean, you could even get some of the parents to chip in,
Pay for my license, guys.
£5 each,
Wow.
and the the knowledge that coach will get is a great investment back.
Yeah,
The kids
yeah.
can have a much better time.
True.
It's
Yeah.
much safer and whatnot. So extremely inexpensive. I can't remember the exact figure when I done it, but I know it was pennies really.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
UEFA C is similar. I think it's maybe in dollars,
Yeah.
perhaps. You're looking at the 130, 140 mark, I think.
Okay.
Mhm.
So again, extremely accessible in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there will be a big jump
Mm-hmm.
for B.
Because the B takes years, right? So as you
Yeah,
said
not
before.
it's not just that. Like
Uh-huh.
like you must understand that with a B, you can legitimately have a career with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I mean, I like to compare it to what a personal trainer qualification would be.
Yeah.
And that's seen as a great investment, and that's, you know, quite hefty sometimes for a good one.
Yeah.
So for us, it's extremely accessible, it's extremely inexpensive, and we have great stars going through the FAW like Arteta and like Thierry Henry. So.
Oh, they're going through the whole process, right?
Yeah. So it's you know, it's very reputable.
Okay, for sure. So comparison-wise, just I know it's not the best and everything, but you coming from, you know, European soccer, from Wales, you're going, you're a Swansea fan, right? Swansea?
I am.
Swansea fan. And, you know, going to a bunch of games over there, and then compared here, I know it's a big difference, but how does it compare, and how do you think it can be improved, I guess, in your opinion?
Okay, so a lot of the signs for a good atmosphere, you guys are you're hitting the nail on the head. You've got Orlando again with the first safe standing, I believe, which is something that we're craving.
What do you mean by safe standing?
So standings, dedicated
standing. I got you.
Standing sections.
Yeah.
We're craving it. We really are. You've got right. You know, some of the entrances with the fire and the dramatic music. And very American. Very American, yeah. Very. But it's great. It's great. Of course, I would say the intensity of the fans over here is quite tame for sure. Yeah. Not doubting dedication and loyalty. However, it's quite laid back, I would say, compared to us. I mean, we've all seen the videos on YouTube of the chant comparisons between the UK and the US. I think in the US, because football's more of a upgrowing sport, it's more of like a family kind of fun day out. I mean, some people go to one game and then never go again. It's like it's an experience. Like we go into a football game, let's get a little Instagram and that and smiley pictures, and that's it. In the UK, it's almost in your blood. You know, I mean, in the US, you have one or two teams, maybe if you're lucky, in the state. We have, we'll be having teams every 5 minutes, 10 minutes away, you know. Wow. And people religiously follow their teams no matter what the level, no matter who they're playing, how much the tickets are, nothing, you know. Yeah. I mean, and it's a big, that dedication, that loyalty, and that passion. Yeah. That just comes out in the stadium. It's evident. It's there. I mean, you've got high attendances. It's not that you don't have the numbers of fans. It's just the quality of support is non-comparable. And it's because of the distance. I mean, when you go on an away day, it's a great laugh. It's a lot of fun, right? Yeah, it's a good time. Can you take a plane to Houston and back? I don't think so.
I see what you mean.
I don't think so. And so when you see your team play, I don't know, 10, 15 times potentially in a season, I feel like it's quite hard to get that connection. When Interesting. You see somebody like me, I'll be seeing at least 30, 35, 40 games per season. Wow. I'm talking preseason, friendlies. I haven't even mentioned the under 21 game, under 23 games I'll go to. Oh, wow. Because people who love their club will watch these youth games as well. Wow. It's, I mean, obviously the UK, we invented the sport, so of course it's gonna be.
I mean, it's had like over 150 years, 200 almost, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
around there. No one really talks about the distance. Actually, that's really interesting. Actually,
it makes sense why they have such strong support there. Yeah, that's so accessible.
Yeah, because Wales is pretty small, right?
It is a very small country. Yeah.
You said there's 3 million, right? 3 million.
3 million people.
Yeah. Wow. Also, I mean, the whole England as well. I mean, it's big.
Of course.
But it's not. United States big, you know what I'm saying?
No, of course not.
And it's actually really interesting. I never thought about that, actually. Yeah, just the distance between it.
It's not just that, it's the...
And also, they've had, they grew into it. They have the passion. It's almost like a family,
Oh, it is.
Thing, you know?
It is. It's football or it's rugby.
Rugby as well, really? Rugby.
Yeah. Rugby's the biggest one.
Wow.
Really?
In Wales, I would argue, for sure.
Wow.
England, it's probably football, but I mean, rugby's, it's, you're either a rugby or you're football, or if you're lucky, both. But yeah, it's like a big cultural difference between people who like football and people who like rugby.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that. Well, rugby's a big sport. I mean, in other countries, it's huge.
It's huge for us.
It's arguably kind of huge. It's a niche thing here in the
Yeah, of
United
course.
States. It's so niche.
It's
I had a lot of
small
friends.
percentage
Well,
that might-
in the UK, the perception is that football
Yeah.
for you is a niche sport.
Oh, really?
That's our
I
perception.
mean, it low-key is, though, right now. I mean, it's still growing. I'm telling you, I still want it to be at that tier. That's the goal, I guess, in my opinion. But, yeah, I could see why. I could definitely see why.
I think your media coverage has not painted you in good light at all. Your representation is poor.
I guess you over there, do you see a lot of, like, how do they view us like that, actually? Yeah.
Honestly, people they think it's cringy.
Really?
Yeah, because you'll see your chants are like so like
Uh-huh.
are so tame and so like lacking of like passion. It's like people like having a little sing singing along. Everyone get the cha hands, and you'll see like you'll be walking around. Oh, get your hot dogs at halftime and your popcorn. Hug the mascot.
Go on the
hugs
field or
hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
And, sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
funny.
in the UK, you'll be having coins and bottles thrown at you, away home fans and away fans.
Two extremes. Those are
Have you
two
ever,
extremes.
the local vicar will turn
Yeah.
into a demon for 90 minutes.
Dude, that's funny.
So, I mean, for me, it's a big event as well.
Yeah.
Each game is like
It's a big venting process for me. I mean, I get stressed, especially. I mean, my local team, Swansea, we aren't doing so well right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could talk about American investors because they haven't painted you in good light either.
Oh, okay.
The taking over of clubs in the UK has been extremely unsuccessful every time.
Really?
Pretty much. I mean, look at Manchester United right now. You look at Arsenal right now. You're looking at Swansea right now. Liverpool's old owners right now. None of them are covered in light at all because they see it as an investment.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, a lot of it's a lot about money. That's the biggest thing, and it's not. I guess it's the culture. Over there, you grew up with this environment.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you said, like a religion almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that we lack, and it's not something that we need, of course, to grow. I think it's still grown, naturally over time. But I think that's the biggest difference. It's just that, just culture-wise, it's here for money and stuff.
Priced out. Your fans are getting priced out.
What do you mean by priced out? Like
A lot of die-hard fans of football.
Yeah.
It's associated with the lower classes of society generally.
Really?
Lower class.
Well, where over there here?
In general, around the world, it's associated with the lower classes and potentially middle class as well.
Okay.
So when I come to over here and I see the ticket prices being so extraordinarily
Actually,
high.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What's the average ticket price over there in dollars, I guess?
So for me, because we also have concessions, if you're senior or if you're a student,
Right.
or if you're under
A student
18.
price would be great, dude.
Oof.
Yeah.
A student price would be great.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys provide no incentives for people to this. I mean, I would say for me, number one, the ticket prices are fixed depending on who we. So doesn't matter.
yeah.
We could play Barcelona. We could play.
Oh, really?
Fleetwood Town would be the same price.
That's tight.
Wow.
That's
yeah,
tight.
it doesn't matter who we're playing. Or at least for my team. So I'm paying about, I would say $22-$23 maybe per game. And that's one-off tickets. If I was getting season tickets or bundle packages, because you can get bundle packages.
Right.
That even goes down even further.
Because it's like valued with more and more tickets, right?
And that's great if you're a student. But over here, because you don't have that option, it just assumes you're an adult, right?
Yeah, it does.
And because California is already an extremely expensive state,
Yeah.
to be asking for, I was looking on the website 180, 90.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, how are you going to encourage the generation now or even younger to get involved? Because that's ultimately the future of the sport, is the investment of the interest of younger generations. Because you pretty much lost the older generations now. They're not going to pay attention. They don't listen to stuff like this, really.
Right.
But our generation and people younger than us, that's going to be the future. And if you price them out, what hope are you doing? I mean, if a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, I could pay the same amount of money and go to an NFL game.
That's another interesting thing you're talking about. Actually, the pricing.
Why would they? Because this needs to be like it's only X amount of dollars. Let's give it a try. And then they see the atmosphere and they see the passion, they see all these things that they've never thought of before. Yeah. And they'll fall in love. I remember the first time I went up the steps of my stadium.
Yeah.
And I walked in this amphitheater of noise and of the black and white, and I saw my national flag waving, and I saw my team that I love, and it's this magical moment. I think it's like if a lot of young people have that, especially when you're younger, it's more powerful when you're younger.
Right.
It's you get hooked, and it's a shame because as I said, like a lot of the Hispanic people in particular who live here, who genuinely love football and follow Liga MX, right? They see no reason why. Like why should we as a culture who's looked down upon and isn't particularly wealthy right now, save up and spend all this money on watching a football game which standard is perceived as much lower than
the other sports here.
Other sports.
Right.
Why? So as the MLS as an institution really needs to look at the structure of the league, because I know and understand that the shareholders want to protect their investment. But long term, the commercial growth of the league would far surpass the risk of their investment.
Exactly.
If there was a promotion and relegation system, the commercial value, because the interest in people coming, the merchandise sales, the TV revenue, because ultimately if the standard grows, if the demand grows, the profit's there.
Right.
So there's so many factors leading into it. The ticket pricing, I've been following social media of Galaxy and LAFC for a while, and all I see really is either training videos or some advertisements bombarding you with buy this, buy that. I'm like, why aren't you visiting local schools? Why aren't you doing all these things? Because if teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Man City can do this stuff, why can't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You brought in this powerhouse Latam.
Yeah.
Use him.
Yeah.
Use him.
Exactly. I mean, I don't doubt that they do some programs here and there.
Of course they do.
I think they do, but I know what you mean. Like, they don't advertise it as much, or they don't do it as often as they could have,
Yeah.
What? I think it all boils down more like to accessibility, and I think the number of opportunities that are starting to build up will really help with that problem.
Of course.
Because as far as I'm aware, like I think baseball is probably the cheapest sport to go to
the game,
because they play so many games and there's so many teams. So
I see what. So
I think the number of teams that kind of like join in, I believe the ticket price will probably go down.
Maybe. I mean, I guess it's so interesting to hear your perspective, because I'm so used to saying, hearing that, it's growing. I can't wait that it's gonna grow. But it's just so interesting that you come in here, you talk about, because it's how the atmosphere should be. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it should be the same, but I do wish it would be, I guess, like, I don't even know, like hyped up as much as like basketball or football, baseball and stuff like that. But again, ticket factors in a lot. Ticket sales factor in a lot. Yeah. That's one of the main reasons I don't go to games, man.
Because
it's just
they're
just
so
priced out,
dude.
Yeah.
It's not even the price of the ticket, right? Because LA is such a big area, or even if you're from South California, right? You're gonna drive all the way to Carson, then buy that ticket. And then if you want to eat something in the stadium, they're gonna have the audacity to charge you charge like $10 for like
a hot dog or
some
something.
hot dog. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
not to mention like the traffic sometimes, dude.
It's
one of the big things here.
I think one of your biggest problems is the lack of teams.
Yeah.
Do you think the lack of teams in the whole United States, or lack of teams just in
professionally? I mean,
professionally?
How many's in the MLS? 30 plus.
30 plus, yeah.
30 plus in one of the biggest countries on the planet.
That's a lot of teams compared to other countries, but those countries, like you're saying, it is a lot smaller.
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
The UK, there's we have 4 professional tiers, and then arguably the 5th one, which is called the conference, is still professional as well.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 tiers, and we've got a population of that league alone, because that doesn't include Scotland, so that population must be like 60 million.
Wow.
And we've got literally hundreds of teams you can follow, okay?
Yeah.
And then you've got 270 million.
300, almost. Over 300 million people.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So you got 300 million. So you're telling
5
me
times as
you
much.
can only get 30 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you got NASL and
yeah,
something, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If they were at the same level, those lower divisions were at the same
promotion relegation would be
would
revolutionize. It'd revolutionize your
Mm-hmm.
national team.
Mm-hmm.
It would take you to new heights. Your international reputation would completely change, which would attract players.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't come here. They don't say, "Oh, let's go to the America."
MLS or something.
Yeah.
They don't say that. Most of your stars are from South Americas.
Mm-hmm. Or from communities here, and they develop with the
I
academy.
mean, you get your
like
rare ones like a Giovinco, but let's be honest, like he was not doing well in Italy.
at Juventus at the time. Also, Carlos Vela, he came over here, and he's still young, man. He's still young,
but he's. I mean, you got to question. You got to question a move that young in your career.
Yeah.
To a league like this, you got to think about is it financially driven? Is he homesick?
Yeah.
Is he got family here? Maybe
or something. Well, you bring a good point. The whole promotion relegation thing it also brings an excitement to the league. That's something that like something that the Open Cup won't give you, like the MLS Open Cup or the MLS Cup won't give you sometimes.
Look at your performances against the Mexican teams.
Like in the CONCACAF competitions, right?
Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad. But look at the difference. I honestly feel the difference between Mexico and the US is the fans drive everything. People don't think that fans have an impact on the clubs. They do. Yeah. They change everything because the fans demand and players then grow up with the same, because players are fans as well. They grow up and they have this hunger and this desire to succeed and perform and whatnot. So, and also even Mexico has promotion relegation. They have all these different incentives and competitions.
Different types of things. Yeah.
If you picked out the top, the best 11 in terms of individual player quality in the US, and you compared it to the MX, I would go MLS. I'm saying that with a straight face. I mean, serious. Name your Zlatan and Giovinco would crush it down there.
Yeah,
1,000,000% would. Yeah. And you got players. Tyler Adams just gone to. He's crushing it in Leipzig, I believe.
Somewhere in Europe, yeah.
Yeah. So Leipzig, great talent again.
Pulisic.
You've got the potential individual performers. Mm-hmm. But the environment and the demands is not there yet.
And those big players, one of the things that's really interesting about them is that they developed Pulisic played in Croatian development leagues when he was younger. And so it's just different, there's a sense of responsibility with those type of fans. The fans are super dedicated for their team, and that also brings a different passion when you're playing, because I'm gonna have a responsibility to win this game. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because people would literally cry. Feel so down. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of passion you guys have over there in Europe, and it's.
I cried when my local team got relegated from the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I was in the stadium. I was like, see those memes of the children crying on the camera. I was one of them for sure. That was horrendous. Yeah, it was physical pain. Physical pain.
I hear it's it's just so stressful and
And one of the things that we have, which I feel like you guys don't, is like I know my players.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing.
We see our players. We talk. We actually can interact. I'm proud. My local team, I love to death. I'm super proud, and we've got people from the actual area that play for us. Which Daniel James has just gone to Manchester United.
Oh yeah, he's from Wales.
He's from Swansea. I'm from
Swansea, right on.
And then one of the guys that my mother taught and I went to school with. Is in the first team right now.
Wow. That's tight.
I'm just saying, like we've got this connection with people, and these people will bleed for this badge.
Yeah.
How many? American people notoriously passionate, extremely excited. Where's I'm not seeing, from my perspective, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing this passion. I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the board directors. I'm talking about the people in positions of power.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, another thing I want to touch on is that we're using our platforms at the moment to tackle difficult, complex issues right now. I've seen Galaxy combat pride by an Instagram post and like a little rubber band on their arm. And I'm thinking you've got this big audience, even if it is growing.
Yeah.
If you interact with your community and you help, people can relate, people can attract, and you need to. The investment in the community comes back. It's vital.
You get what you give. You get what you give. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Good thing you talked about, like, you know, we can do so much, but if the investors aren't on that same level, you know, the owners, like, what's the point? You know, like, they gotta have, I don't know, in my opinion, of course, like just that same passion. Like, you gotta love that team. You know, that's one of the biggest things I feel it's lacking.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of American investors, it's a business for them.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. They don't care. They don't go to games. Hell, they don't even know who plays for them. Probably. But even from a logical standpoint, your revenue is going to greatly improve if your following improves. Yeah. If I was an investor, right, and I was saying, okay, here's 5 million. I want you to do some marketing campaigns, and I want you to really target the youth. I'm talking like kids or young teenagers even.
Yeah.
You're going to see a significant return if they go to your games and they become a lifelong fan. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if you're an investor, you're not looking at turning a revenue in 2-3 years. You look at turning a revenue in 10, 20 years.
There we go. Yeah. Exactly.
So, and also that you're just doing the community a favor. I think you should love your team. If you're buying into a club, you should love it, really. Yeah. And we don't. I follow Arsenal as well. I watch them my life as well. I don't love them as much as Swansea, admittedly, but yeah, I've still watched them, you know, and I've still been to their games in London. And their owner Stan Kroenke does not care. He doesn't go to games.
Oh, really?
He's taken money out, and he's too busy buying ranches over here and stuff like that. My local team, Swansea's been taken over by Americans too. Oh, yeah? And since then, we've been relegated, and we've had two first teams worth of players sold as assets. Damn. And it hurts the community. It really does. I know people lost their jobs. Whoa. The attendances go down. Pure hatred. I protested. It's legit because it's you know, I don't think in America that would happen really.
If not a protest, definitely not a protest.
It's definitely not right.
You know,
you'll get your fans, of course, your diehard fans, but
of course, but not how you know, would you compare LA Galaxy fans to Raiders fans or Green Bay Packers fans?
Dude, don't even Raiders fans. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I'm not talking about violence.
No,
intensity of support.
Yeah, don't take that the wrong way, guys.
Yeah.
But no, it's the intensity and the love, I guess. Yeah. The genuine love for their team.
Isn't that what LA's all about? Right. Don't be cringy over here,
bro. Come on.
That's what it's all about, from what I've learned since being part of this family.
Yeah, I guess just to finish off this talk, because I do want get to know you.
Of course.
But yeah, I guess to summarize what we've been talking about. Yeah. What are takeaways that you think that we can do better here in US?
I think, I mean, I would say potentially like fans education. Maybe just need like a bit of education, like, okay, this is what we want, how are we gonna get it? Yeah, let's look at Europe. If we're visiting Europe for a holiday, go to a game. If you're going to Italy, go to a game. If you're going to Spain, go to a game. See what it's like. You don't have to go to the top teams. You'll even see it in any standard. There's a drastic difference. But honestly, I think credit to the fans here, because it's probably tough. Probably people giving you stick for like, oh, why are you watching like soccer trash? You should be like, you know, watching the Rams or something.
Lakers or something.
Lakers, yeah.
Maybe not even that.
You know.
Yeah. No.
But ultimately, like, you need to put pressure on your owners. You can hurt them with your money, with your wallet. Yeah. As painful as that is. Because ultimately, that's what they care about. If you hit them where it hurts, which is their finances, I'm talking about if you're not happy with your performance, you're not happy with the atmosphere, don't buy the merchandise. If you go to the games, don't buy that hot dog.
Yeah.
It's don't.
It's a small thing.
Yeah. Vote with your wallet if you want change. Press them on social media. I feel like because it's more of a niche over here, the ambassadors for teams are much more connected with their fans anyway. Yeah. So they'll hear that. I think another thing you guys could do is grassroots. If you improve your grassroots participation, you spoke to Tony earlier.
Yeah.
And talk about the opportunities that we have in Southern California. From what I understand, we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can provide that on a national scale, or even just improve what we have, here, for example, ultimately long term down the line is going to improve. My perception on the US was it was a retirement league 5 years ago. It's changed. It's changed.
It's changed.
And if I can change that drastically in 5 years, imagine another 5-10 years from now, what can happen. Big stars have come here, and you say now not to retire, to play. You mentioned Vela now,
right.
Okay. Other players are coming into, especially the young players. If we can get fans to attend, fans to grow in love with players, I think, and I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Antuna.
Yeah.
For LA Galaxy, honestly, I think the potential of that player in particular is huge, and people can fall in love with these cult players.
Yeah.
And then whether they stay or go, the badge will always be there, no matter what.
Yeah. So
I think it's everybody's responsibility. I think it's our responsibility. If we're part of this community, we pass it on to our, we've been coached, hopefully anyway.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate. Somebody's dedicated their time. We can dedicate ours. And we can encourage a positive environment, fun, not pressure for young people.
Yeah.
And then, hopefully then, as numbers increase, passion increases, and then stature and whatnot increases too. So yeah, that's what I think personally.
Wow. It's just great to hear, your perspective. It really is. It's something different. It's something different, and I really like it. I really like, because I think it's good advice. I really do. I really think that's great advice, and I think people listening can agree that, it's not just, waiting for it to go. No, give back to your community, give back to your community. Go to the games or protest, by paying where it hurts, not paying for those things. And it's super important to talk about these things because it's someone who has experience from a different country where they're arguably doing it better than we are. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's all perspective, of course.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if I was in the US, I wouldn't say let's replicate a country.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say let's be the same, but let's look at what they've done and see how we can
see what they've
grow
done.
naturally.
You guys are doing things better than we are. I'm 100% convinced of that.
Yeah.
I've seen the flares in the stadium. I'm seeing the drums. I'm seeing people with their face painted. And stuff like that. One of the things I love when I'm looking at your stadiums, that everyone's wearing a jersey. And I wish, because I always wear my jersey, but a lot of people don't wear their jerseys when they go to games.
Really?
Oh.
And it's something I love, because I want to see, my teams, we would play it in white. I want to see a white wall.
That'd be cool.
That's what I want to see. I look at your stadiums, and they're all in the stadium colours.
Yeah.
I think that's great. This shows the unity and as the people that go into games now, I got a lot of time and respect for.
Yeah.
Because they're paying top money to watch a standard, which arguably is not the greatest right now. It's certainly improving.
Yeah.
And you can ask any Galaxy fan, for example, the standard 20, 30 years ago and the standard now. So, I think it's an exciting time. Yeah, for sure. But of course, with anything, improvements can be made and should be made.
Of course, always. Yeah. I guess before we finish, I do want to say the story of how I met Dylan. So this is just a totally just go somewhere else right now. So check it. No, it's actually okay. So I was making an intramural team here at Cal State Long Beach, right? Yeah. And in the intramural team, there's a section where you can get just free agents, which are players that are just don't have a team. They're just looking for a team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a whole list, 20 of them. 20 people, and and then each one there's an option to put a description, right? A lot of people don't do it. Some people did. This guy went all out, was like, yes, I'm a coach in Europe and playing for years and all that. And I'm like, damn, dude, this guy sounds good, dude, right? Yeah. And he was good, but I think it's so funny because people say make sure you write a good resume and everything. It's so true. Everyone else was like, I get injured sometimes. I got a sprained ankle I'm still recovering from. I'm like, why are you saying these things? Come on. You know what I'm saying? You got to sell yourself. And I thought that was so funny because that's the reason I met you. And I think that's really interesting.
You have all these just kind of random guys oh yeah, I come from Europe. I'm a coach. I play professionally,
And then this other guy's like I barely play.
I mean, I want to emphasize that. I don't want people to be worried like of their ability. Like I am by no means a good player at all. I'm better. So most people who've seen me would agree.
No,
but it doesn't matter if you want to be a coach.
Yeah.
For example, which I encourage almost anyone to do. I really would, even if you don't actually coach. The skills you learn are vital. Don't be scared that your ability is going to hinder you. It really is not a factor at all.
Yeah.
It's not. I think a lot of people like feel like crippled that like well, you know, he's not ex-professional, he's not a player, so how can he teach? It's not true at all. A lot of modern coaches that we're seeing now are not ex-players. Yeah. I think it's like this old like stereotype that ex-professionals are the best coaches. You're seeing it. A lot of it's not true. I mean, I'm going to use my like example. So Gary Neville, great, amazing, one of the best defenders in Premier League history. His tenure at Valencia was laughable. Got sacked, like lost almost every game, got sacked straight away.
Yeah.
You know?
Ex-player? Yeah. Best defender?
Thierry Henry, who's arguably my favourite player of all time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, he went to Monaco and he lost, boyhood club.
Yeah.
3 months he was out.
I heard he had like a big attitude problem. But again, some people are just not apt to, be a manager.
I'm not saying that these players can't become great coaches, but the assumption that an ex-player to be a professional is not there. Anyone can do it. And honestly, in coach, even if you don't want to take up coaching, the skills you can use can be transferred into any career, or you can even, for your child or for your brother, for your sister, if you've got a younger brother,
right?
Take that coaching class. Learn about the game, take an interest, invest in yourself.
Right.
And hell, it's something to put in CV at least.
Yeah. You could do that.
Yeah.
It's
a good, go on a date. It's like, hey, I'm a coach.
Hey.
I'm good with kids.
Call me coach.
Oh, right on, man. Hey, is there anything you'd like to add? Anything, advice or plugs? You can plug anything in it.
Advice. Honestly, like, I want to shout out the show. I think you're no, for real. Like,
thank you. Yeah.
Like investment. This is what I'm talking about. Investment in the community, giving back. This is exactly what this is.
Right.
How easy is it now to be driving? You're stuck in traffic. You listen to something like this for an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been enlightened potentially, or I hope. Or
Hopefully,
with this one,
at least learned something new, and hopefully can take away something, at least one thing. And I think the one thing from this I would take away is just give back. And if you haven't taken anything away, then great, all more power to you. Give something without even taking anything back.
Right.
But I mean, if you fall in love with this game, this game can consume you, and in a good way.
Right.
This game's got a lot of love and a lot of heartbreak. It comes with the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
But I think this is the world's game for a reason, and I just hope that America can fully join the party, because I feel like right now you're dipping your toe in the water.
It's
dipping your toe in.
It's getting there.
Your international representation. I mean, like, shout out to the women.
Oh, hell yeah!
Unbelievable job as usual. And even the men, they didn't qualify for the World Cup last time, but their performances in the World Cup have been notable.
The previous one, but we did make,
Yeah, you did. You've done well. Yeah. And you got a lot of upcoming talent. So I just invest in youth and throw away what doesn't work and keep what does.
Right on. Yeah. Well, Dylan, it was truly, dude.
Thank you.
This is amazing. I really love this episode. I really love it, man. It's great stuff, man. I love the insight, because it's not something you hear often here, because everyone's just so close. I'm not saying close-minded, but they're not educated of how the perspectives are, and I think it's great to have you on, man. Anything you want to plug? Instagram? Tinder?
Just kidding. Yo, if best not be swiping left. Nah.
I'm joking.
If I'm gonna plug anything, I'm gonna plug my nan. What a legend.
Okay.
Aww. My hero is my nan.
Hey, okay.
Aww. Yeah.
Instagram.
Plug. All right then. All right. Instagram. Dylan Lambro. You can see all my little adventures so far.
There we go.
In California. And if you have any football-related questions, I can try my best to answer.
No, that'd be great. Yeah, definitely do.
Yeah, but other than that, I really enjoyed myself.
dude.
on the show.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I can come back again one day.
Of course. We'll see. I'm just kidding.
He's got to come back.
All right.
You know, he's got to come back for the trivia cup.
Of
The
course.
trivia,
He,
retain the title.
if you haven't checked out the Trivia Cup on YouTube, hopefully it's up.
the Trivia Cup
Was it
is,
great?
I mean, if you heard the chat,
Prestigious.
it's pristine, it's beautiful, it's
Yeah.
brought a
That,
tear
like-
to my eye. One of the proudest moments in my career.
Definitely. It's a great.
I mean, people think the Oscars is winning the Oscars a big
No,
deal.
No.
You win the Trivia Cup, then you can come back and talk to me.
Then,
Okay?
then talk to me.
Then talk to me.
Right on, man. Hey, it was great having you, man. It was
Yeah.
so good, man. Yeah, check him out at Dylan Lambro. You can also check us out at the.fa.show. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, so Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Ooh,
Anchor.
where are we not?
Where are we not on? I don't know.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Absolutely.
Except for
everywhere.
YouTube.
International, baby.
International. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.